So, Bishop Sipuka, thank you so much for talking to us. You've just delivered your keynote address or your welcoming address to the second plenary session of the SACBC. Take us through that address. I noticed that it was quite lengthy, diverse, different topics, but in a nutshell, take us through that address.
Well, I wanted to brief the new nuncio about the state of the conference, and that is partly why it was a bit lengthy. If you notice, I think I dedicated about 40%, to that. So had it not been for the nuncio, it would have been shorter. So blame it on the nuncio then if it is too long. But I needed to brief him. Also, as you noticed, I also wanted to talk about this historical moment in our country, about these elections and their consequent implications, which have led to the government of national unity. I think that it is a bit of a breath of fresh air, really, to have that, because with one party leading, as we have seen, there have been a lot of stagnation there. So, as I said, there is a bit of excitement really about it, to see how things now will change and focus more on policies and practices that are going to positively impact on the lives of the faithful, rather of the population of South Africa. I have also raised some issues about Botswana and Swaziland, because the tendency is to focus on South African things only, South African issues. So I picked up the issue of drugs, which is a growing problem in Botswana, and there is also a concern about the corruption there and the money laundering among the higher-ranking officials. I'm serious about the security of the country. When you hear talks about the ISIS and also private military camps, and also the syndicates that go almost with impunity, almost competing with the state. I'm concerned about that. But I'm grateful for the efforts of the government to do something about load shedding, because that affects the economy of the country. So really, whatever they have done well. But the question is, why did they have to wait, so long to do what they should have done, a long time ago? I also wish to repeat again my compliments for the ruling party for being so magnanimous and generous about accepting the results, instead of sticking, on their guns and claiming maybe some reasons for not acting according to the result, to the dictates of the results. So I'm really grateful, for that. As you have noticed, I've also raised some pastoral concerns as well, especially the drinking part. This really concerns me. Back in the Eastern Cape, some 21 young people died in a tavern, and they were underage. They should not have been there. And generally, our youth are caught up in alcohol and drugs. To deal with this legally, it becomes cumbersome, because there is a claim of any attempt to clamp down on liquor availability as unconstitutional. Of course, there are also other issues as well about the Constitution that we need to look at. I'm just waiting to discuss with the Bishop, but as I have said in my opening address, this one is one of them, where business appears to be given preference about liquor and less concerned about its social consequences, which is very negative. Also, I have highlighted something about the one topic, in fact, that has come up about the synod, about the ordination of women to diaconate. And really the point I am raising, is the necessity of it. What is its necessity? What is its urgency? What difference will it make in the life of the church? Because for practical reasons, anything that is done by a deacon can be done by lay people. Okay, they are not sacramentally enabled, to do that, but in practice, they do that. I would like the synod, to clarify those issues. What fundamental difference and practical difference, will it make? The question of the ordination of proven men. I really think that is something we need to continue to talk about, because it's an open topic. There was even a synod, that dedicated a big portion of the sessions, on it. And again, this is not just for theoretical reasons, it's for practical reasons, that many of our faithful are deprived of the celebration of the Eucharist, which is the center of our faith. We are concerned about what happened at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. We regard what has happened as very distasteful and lacking respect and sensitivity, because, as you know, especially in the Catholic Church, the Eucharist holds a very, very high place, and to denigrate it in the way that has been done is just not justified. It is very, very insensitive, and the lame, half-hearted apology also that. Okay, if it offended you, we are sorry. If it offended you, in other words, they are not sorry about itself. They are just sorry about how we feel about it. That they regret that we feel that way about our Eucharist. Otherwise, they are not really sorry about what they have done. That really is something that should not have happened. I'm worried about the situation in the Middle East, because it is escalating now into a regional conflict that will end up affecting maybe the whole world. So those are the things that I would like to highlight about my address.
Thank you so much for sharing that. But then today you got to officially meet the new Apostolic Nuncio to Southern Africa. Of course, you've met him before in Ghana, whilst you were under the leadership of SACAM as well.
Yes.
But for the region, as your new Apostolic Nuncio, today was the formal introduction, and he was quite generous to give each and every one of you a copy of his latest book.
Yes,
Of course, I was the first one to get it.
I see. Congratulations. Okay.
But in a nutshell, what are your impressions? How do you see
my
the new
impressions
Nuncio?
about him really are very good. I have known him in Ghana for about 3 years. Each time I think I have met him in meetings. I've also been to his residence. He had invited us for dinner there. And already at that time, I had an impression of an approachable person, very, very down to earth. So when he was announced, I was quite excited that, we will work with somebody that I know and with whom really I'm quite comfortable with his posture. So I look forward to working with him, One thing though that unsettles me a little bit, is that I'm older than him. And I have never before seen myself as that old. I feel old because